Hello, and welcome back to Trekking into Literature, the audio-only podcast where we ask Leonard Nimoy's famous question, where does Star Trek want to take me now? And answer it by following LeVar Burton's excellent advice to take a look. It's in a book. This time and every time, I will be randomly selecting an episode of Star Trek to rewatch, doing a little research to find any literary references tucked inside, and hopefully finding something to read together here with you. A quick sidetrack. Before we get started, it is my great joy to report that Reading Rainbow is returning to PBS, featuring social media favorite Michael the Librarian and an all-star lineup of narrators reading new books for children. Go to readingrainbow.org and stay up to date on this wonderful new announcement. Now, back to our show. Today's trek into literature begins with Star Trek Prodigy, Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2, Into the Breach. Now you're invited to pause here, raid your DVD collection, or as I've recently discovered, read the episode summary on memoryalpha.fandom.com. I'll meet you back here when you're ready. Welcome back. It's no secret that Star Trek makes a habit of referencing classical literature. That premise is precisely what this show you're listening to is built on. So imagine my surprise when, in this random rewatch journey, both the first and second episodes we've landed on don't have any literary references in the script. If you'll forgive me paraphrasing, don't just take my word for it. Trekking through literature is about the journey. So let's go there together, starting with what may be the greatest single online resource for Star Trek details, Memory Alpha. Here on the episode page for Prodigy Into the Breach, we can find a comprehensive scene-by-scene episode summary, along with a large list of links for Star Trek characters, continuity, and topics. Near the bottom is one little entry for cultural references, featuring the words timey-wimey, which are, of course, a nod to Doctor Who, the other culture-defining sci-fi TV show of our time. Come to think of it, I did notice in this Prodigy episode a recurring gag line. Haven't you read Temporal Mechanics 101? And, of course, the final response from Dal, explain it to me like I'm a Dal. If you, dear listener, want time paradoxes explained in the easiest, most digestible form possible, this podcaster highly recommends reading Captain Underpants and the Terrifying Return of Tippy Tinkletrousers, the 9th epic novel by Dave Pilkey. Not even kidding. Pilkey's banana cream pie paradox neatly and cleanly lays out the whole concept. Well, maybe not cleanly, there is some pie throwing. Anyhow, it's good stuff. Get down to your local library and check it out. Even better, if you know any kids in 2nd, 3rd, or 4th grade, take them along to the library and read it together. You won't regret it. But here's you and me, still looking for something classical to read right now. So let's come back around and take a second look at that title, Into the Breach. Like last week, it's another one of those lines that's so ubiquitous. Surely it has to be from somewhere. Let's find out. A simple search shows works of the same title include a 2018 turn-based strategy video game with a remarkably high player rating. Definitely saving that one for later. I do enjoy an isometric view. But the line itself appears to be a partial quote from Shakespeare's Henry V, Act 3, Scene 1, written in 1599. Yes, this is what we came here for. Give me a minute, I'm going to go skim Wikipedia and come right back. Into the Breach, or Unto the Breach, a line so famous it's been repeated in uncountable popular works since, taken from a play so influential upon the English language that it also appears to be the origin of another famous term, Band of Brothers. This second phrase has, of course, been the title of a World War II TV miniseries from 2001, but today I learned Band of Brothers was also a phrase used by George Washington during his farewell address to the U.S. Army in 1783. This play, Henry V, even made popular the term household words, common parlance, of course, for a benchmark of fame. Okay, back on topic. I knew Into the Breach sounded familiar, but I just couldn't put my finger on it without help. Shakespeare's Henry V was required reading in middle school drama class, due in no small part to a film version released by Kenneth Branagh the year before, and our teacher's total crush on the man. She would likely be scolding me for letting this reference slip. But then again, maybe not. Unto the Breach is a decent speech, but it's hardly the best one from the play. We spent so much more time in class studying the St. Crispin's Day speech from Act 4, Scene 3, where Unto the Breach, I suppose, is a fine rally. From my end, it's reading like an instruction manual. On the other hand, St. Crispin's Day feels like more than just a means to rouse the troops. It's an emotional summit for the entire story, for Henry's journey from petulant conqueror to mature leader, and for his people as he shifts their attention from the struggle to the goal while binding them in camaraderie. It's a subtle and critical shift from wallowing in the very real misery of the fighting and dying they've been doing, to looking forward toward the chance of achieving a rare glory that will outlive them all. St. Crispin's Day, in fact, was so moving that Sir Laurence Olivier famously delivered it on the radio to boost British morale during World War II. This performance impressed Winston Churchill enough to ask Olivier to produce the entire play on film, which would go on to be released in 1944. I'd like, if I may, to read both of these speeches for you here, and let you form your own opinions. It won't match Branagh or Olivier, but I'll give it my best. You're welcome to read along on the Folger Shakespeare Library website. I'll try to include a link in the description below, or you can search folger.edu Henry V. You should find the play posted there in its entirety. There's a Jump To section just below the title with a drop-down menu and a Go button that should help you arrive directly at Act 3, Scene 1, then follow again to Act 4, Scene 3. As for me, I'll be nerd flexing, dusting off my old copy of the complete works. Let's begin with Unto the Breach. Henry V, Act 3, Scene 1, Line 1. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more, or close up the wall with our English dead. In peace there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let it pry through the portage of the head like the brass cannon. Let the brow o'erwhelm it, as fearfully as doth a gold rock o'erhang and juddy his confounded base, swilled with the wild and wasteful ocean. Now set the teeth, and stretch the nostril wide, hold hard the breath, and bend up every spirit to his full height. On, you noblest English, whose blood is fet from fathers of war-proof, fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these parts from morn till even fought, and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonor not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good yeomen, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the mettle of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not, for there is none of you so mean and base that hath not noble lustre in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Harry, England, and St. George! Now let's continue with St. Crispin's Day. Henry V, Act 4, Scene 3, beginning with Westmoreland at line 18. Oh, that we now had here but 1/10,000 of those men in England that do no work today. What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair cousin, if we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honor. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor do I care who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear. Such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honor, I am the most offending soul alive. No, faith, my cause, wish not a man from England. God's peace I would not lose so great an honor as one man more, methinks, would share from me. For the best hope I have, oh, do not wish one more. Rather proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart, his passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes home safe will stand a tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall live this day and see old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbors and say, tomorrow is St. Crispian. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars, and say, these wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot, but he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall ne'er go by from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whiles any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's day. Well, what did you think of these bits of Shakespeare's Henry V? Have you seen the Olivier and Branagh films? Did I miss any references in Star Trek Prodigy? Or are there any other good books you'd recommend that were brought to mind by this little journey? Did you get a chance to go to the library? What's your take on Pilkey's banana cream pie paradox? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for listening to this second episode of Trekking into Literature. Thanks also to Memory Alpha, Wikipedia, and the Folger Shakespeare Library for hosting facts and stories out on the open internet. And especially thanks to the people of our public library systems. You all provide services with value beyond measure. Please join in next time as another roll of the dice takes us to Star Trek Discovery, Season 4, Episode 8, All In. But that is a story for another time. Until then, my friends, live long and prosper.